We had a great experience last week in a tough football game. Hopefully that seasoned us up a little bit for what's getting ready to show up, because we're playing against a very athletic, big, strong football team that's coming in with a whole bunch of confidence because no one's even slowed them down.
No triple option though, Rock. I mean, you guys feel like they're more on the same footing as you in that regard, or does that?
I'm going to give you some coach speak. Not at all. I mean, we've been working against the triple option for 2 weeks now. We got a team that's going to come in here and throw it 60 times, and we haven't rushed the passer. We haven't covered anybody for, I don't know, 15 days, 16 days. I mean, it'll be interesting to see. They're throwing it and catching it well. They're running up and down the field. They're scoring a whole bunch of points, and we haven't. It's a completely different mentality. Now you're trying to penetrate the line of scrimmage and get up the field and put pressure on the quarterback, and you're trying to cover wide receivers and tackle people in open spaces. It's a big-time change around, so we'll see how we handle the change.
How concerned are you with the number of points they're putting up on the board?
Well, the number of points doesn't concern me. It's how many they might put up against us. That scares me. I mean, I think we'll be fine if we can get over triple option mentality and get back to spread offense mentality. The difference in the two offenses is as far as it can be. The differences are unbelievable, and angles are different. I mean, it's completely on opposite ends of the scale, the two offenses.
Coach, San Diego State hasn't traditionally fared real well against BCS automatic qualifying schools. What would a victory over a Pac-12 team mean to this program?
It'd mean we were 3-0 and moving on. I don't buy into any of that. Never have, never will.
Why not?
I mean, we're Division I, they're Division I. I think our league's as good as most BCS leagues. I think it's a travesty that we don't have an opportunity to play for a national championship. I mean, we're in the same division they are. There ain't no big difference. We're in the same division they are.
Do you discuss that same mentality to your kids in terms of, this is it's not no other game. It's not a Pac-12 team. It's just another game on the schedule. I mean, I'm sure some of these kids might think, playing a Pac-12 team would give them an opportunity to, give San Diego State a little bit more prestige.
I don't know what our kids think. I mean, if you ask one of our players that same question, I'm sure they would say, yeah, it's really exciting to play a BCS team. In 2 or 3 years of me being the head coach, they won't say that, because that's all built up by you guys. That's all drummed in their heads, especially our California kids. That's been drummed in their heads since they were in high school and playing football. That's been beat into their heads, and people have made them believe that. I don't believe that. I think that's a bunch of hogwash. We're in the same division they are. There's no big deal playing a BCS team. It's no big deal. Now, I think probably some of our kids think that because they've been brainwashed. It's a long period of time. I mean, you recruit kids that feel the same way you do. You recruit kids that have the same mentality, that they don't care who they play, and they're excited about everybody they play. It has nothing to do with them being in the Pac-12. It has something to do with them being really good. I mean, they have bad teams in those leagues too.
Will you spend a decent amount of time this week at all working on changing that mentality that they have been led to believe that?
No, I think that's a year-long process. It's spring ball, it's off-season workouts, it's everything. I'm not sure I haven't been the head coach long enough for that mentality to take hold, because I think Brady had that same mentality. That's why he went. That's why he left.
You have the mentality that a BCS school is better than a non-BCS school?
I don't have that mentality.
When you said he had that same mentality, you meant the mentality of a BCS school being better than a non-BCS?
I don't know what his mentality was. I'm just guessing that it was, yes. I'll tell you one thing about the BCS: they're better financed. That doesn't mean their players are any better than our players.
Coach, do you like the way the schedule is set up? Where
No. No, I think going to the East Coast 2 times in your first 4 games puts you at a huge disadvantage. And I don't think playing back there is the disadvantage. I think it's the week after that's the disadvantage. Just like when you play, and I've done this several times, when you go to play Hawaii, you're not at a disadvantage the Hawaii game, you're at a disadvantage the next week. And us having to go back east 2 times in the first 4 games, I think that puts us at a disadvantage, yes.
So this would be the week?
Yes.
So how do you combat that?
I don't know. You just count on your kids being tough.
Rocky, you made reference to BCS schools being better financed scholarship plus. What's your position
On players getting paid?
on at least expanding what they can do?
I don't believe in that. I think that having the opportunity to play Division I football and going to school on a scholarship is a wonderful opportunity, a wonderful gift. It's a blessing. And then there's some other student athletes on this campus, and every one of those campuses work just as hard as we do, want to win just as much as we do. The only difference is that we're supposed to be revenue producing, and they don't happen to be revenue producing. If you want to pay, I'm for paying all scholarship athletes. If that's what you're asking, I'm for them getting extra money, but I'm not for just football and basketball getting extra money.
If you say extra money, have you thought of like what it is that they might need extra?
That's why I think it's a whole list of problems. So I just as soon keep it like it is. If I was in charge, we'd keep it just like it is.
There's talk of the value a player would have if they were able to, sign their own jersey deal or something like that on their own. What value is a college education, do you think?
I think it's you can't measure it. I think it's precious.
Have players that you've coached discussed that with you at all?
Certainly.
What do they say?
I think a lot of players are influenced by pro sports, and so they've been convinced by what they see that some of them, not all of them, some of them think they should get paid. Yes.
Some people say that college sports, especially football and basketball, are just a minor league for the professional ranks. When you hear that, what do you think?
I think then they should make it like baseball. The NFL teams ought to be paying the schools money.
Rocky, what do you make of Washington State's fast start? Obviously, the program has been pretty awful the last 3 years.
I think they've done, the coaching staff and the administration there, I'm sure, have done a great job building that program from the bottom up. If you look at their roster is much older than it was the last year, much older than it was the year before, and they even put an asterisk by the names of the kids that have been redshirted. So they've been playing with a whole bunch of young players over the last couple of years that are now at the mature age that they play better. I mean, the quarterback's a 5th-year senior. Their offensive lineman, I think there's 1 sophomore and 4 redshirt seniors in their offensive line. Their best receivers are juniors that were redshirted or seniors that were redshirted. They've done a good job of not panicking because the records haven't been very good, and they've given the coach a chance to build a program from the bottom up. And all of a sudden, they're a whole lot better than everybody expected them to be.
Coach, your running defense is ranked 114th in the nation right now. Is that a product of the teams you've been playing? How much has it
It's exactly who we played. If we'd have played two spread teams, we might be there in passing and leading the nation in rushing defense. It's exactly the teams we're playing. Has nothing. I think statistics lie all the time anyway. I mean, you start worrying about where you're ranked in rushing and passing, and you ought to be worried about where you're ranked in win-loss record.
Coach, in the summer we talked a lot about how defenses were going to play you over these last 2 games. Have you seen them stack the box more to stop Ronnie, or has it been more stop Ryan and Ronnie at the same time?
I think that the first game that they tried to stack the box and it didn't help them. I think this last game I thought the Army coaches did a great job of coaching. They gave the illusion that wide receivers were double covered when they really weren't, and they got a whole bunch of guys in the box in a deceptive way. And then when you drop touchdown passes in your hands, that works right into their game plan.
What are you anticipating Washington State to do?
I think if I was Washington State, I mean they're big and strong up front. They've got really good athletes in the secondary, so I would see if our wide receivers are any good.
Rocky, with the Sky Show this weekend as well, it typically is a big crowd. Do you try to build on that and show where San Diego State football is? I know it's just another game, but do you try to take that opportunity?
No, we'll use that in recruiting. We're trying. I mean, we get to call recruits once a week, and we try to get them all to show up when we know there's going to be a big crowd. If that's what you mean, yeah. And then we try to explain to them it's always like that.